Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Murphy Table. I want to show you something really cool. My wife recently, well, maybe Christmas, somewhere in there, I don't even remember when, but she got me Descent, Journeys in the Dark, 2nd edition. It's like, if you're not familiar, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of role-playing game in a box. It gives you all the miniatures, card tiles, everything you need to go adventuring is there. Now, this isn't a review or anything about how the game plays and why it's really good. We really enjoy it. So we had some friends that invited us over, and we took the game over and we said, hey, let's play. So this is what your box looks like. So we have our miniatures. We got cards and tokens and more cards and character cards, and we have those cards and some more of these cards, and there's some equipment and different things, and here comes some tiles and doors, and there's some dice, and so you get some books. I set the books out. I don't even know where I put the other books are in here. Then there's your tiles, and you've got more tiles. And you have a book here. Usually these are on top, but you've got the quest guide. So my wife, who likes to play the Overlord, she would open this up and it tells you how to lay out your adventures. So everything's like here. So then we just have to sort through. And because this was the first time we played with our friends, we had to make our characters. So we had to find like all the character cards. So everything is here, and we spent more time sorting it out than we did actually playing. It felt like, once the game got going, it was great. We had a lot of fun. The problem is there's just so much stuff. And my wife was like, she says, I want to play again. Oh, here's your health. Wants to play again, but my goodness, it's a mess. It makes you not want to play. So obviously we did not have this organized very well at all. So I went online, and there's a website, the Esoteric Order of Gamers. Yeah, look that up. Esoteric Order of Gamers. They do unboxings, some gameplay videos, and they make instructions for foam core inserts. And since I've been working on how to make foam core inserts for different games, I thought, well, I'll try my hand at these for Descent. So it has a first level. See, I don't know if this zooms, unzoom. So it tells you, how it should go together. It gives you all your measurements, how many of each type of piece you need. So the instructions are fantastic. Plus, in his instructions, there's photographs on how the parts and things should fit. I didn't print that out because I just kept it on my computer, but here's the first box, and then this is a small inner box, and again it tells you the size of the main floorboard, and then the sizes you need. The sizes are all in metric, so it's all in millimeters, like 155 millimeters and things like that. So just make sure if you're going to do something like this and download the plans from his site. Basically what you do is you go to the esotericorderofgamers.com, and then he actually has a link at the top of his website that says like foam core. And there's like maybe 8-10 games, I forget, but there's several games that he's got foam core instructions for. And then finally here's the upper box. Now, these instructions are spot on. Perfect. The only problems I had making this, the foam core I get is from the dollar store, so it warps. It doesn't always come perfectly flat. So that's a challenge, getting flat. You can correct some curves, but on big pieces, you're going to definitely see the warp. All right, so I got dollar store foam core. I use a Sharpie pen for marking out measurements. You could use a pencil, anything like that. This is just what I had within hand reach. Sharp X-Acto blade. So I put a new blade on for cutting the foam core. It makes such a difference. It's hard to explain, but with foam core, at least for the dollar store foam core, as your blade starts to dull, it doesn't cut the foam anymore. It starts to actually tear and rip. So if you can keep this sharp, it's amazing. It's like cutting through butter. Warm butter, not fresh out of the fridge butter, but warm butter. It's just nice. So make sure you got a good sharp blade, whatever you're using. Now, big ruler, and I got a cutting mat. I'll just leave the cutting mat off to the side. I want to show you this though. This is now my adhesive of choice for foam core. I think the Esoteric Order of Gamers, they recommend that you use like PVA glue, white glue, and then sewing pins to hold everything together. So you glue your foam core in place, and what that does is that allows you to move the piece that you're gluing exactly into the position that you want, because the glue doesn't dry immediately. Then you take sewing pins, stick them through the sides of the foam core to lock that piece in place, and then it'll dry. Well, this tape, wow, this is called Score tape. I think it's SKOOR, and my wife gets it off of Amazon, and I don't know quite the size, but it's around 3 to 4 millimeters thick, because it's slightly less width than foam core. So I don't know if that's going to focus in, because it doesn't have like a size. It says in here, if it helps you, Suk Wang, if you were to look this up yourself. But Score tape, yeah, it's cut in half, so you can't really see any information. But this tape is phenomenal. It's double-sided tape, and it's really strong. I mean, the drawback is you can't position your piece. I mean, it's like once it starts touching stuff, it sticks really strong. But the advantage to this is you don't have to wait for things to dry. You don't have to have pins or anything like that. You just put your double-sided tape on, and your foam core is stuck. It's not moving. It's fantastic. So I'm using that from now on. All right, so what does this look like? Let's just shove the game aside for a moment. Now, your box is in 3 layers. Now, the dollar store foam core we get is a white. It's got like a black paper, but then all the lines, it's white on the inside. So my wife just took a Sharpie and painted the inside black. So that's what your first top tray is going to look like. This is inside. So then you have this secondary tray. This is going to hold, I forget where everything goes. See, here's some of the warping. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera, maybe depending on how I hold this, but there's some warp on the boards. So you can correct a lot of the warping just by doing a better job than me, paying attention to how you tape things down to the board. So yes, you might get some warpage. You can correct for it. I just didn't do a very good job. And then here is the big piece that goes inside. So what I want to do is show you a little bit how this goes together. I'm not going to fit everything in here right now, because that would be very boring to watch me put everything away. But I want to give you an idea just how nice things are. I'm putting all the big models here. So you get this bag, and if you remember, I mean, this bag was just full. Most of that full comes from these larger models. So you got to make sure that they fit down. Daughter's trying to get in. Okay, so that leaves me with the adventurers and just some regular sized creatures. Oh, so on camera. So big creatures are gone. So the bulk of this miniature bag has shrunk, but they fit nicely right in here. This is great. Alright, so now this will put tiles. Now I'm just setting them in here. I'm sure what I need to do is also take some time and pay better attention to my tiles in here as well. Just because I got a space for the tiles doesn't mean just dump them in here. I probably want to stack them. Okay, so just keep that in mind for a second. I'll probably come back later and tidy this up. Okay, that's most of the big tiles. So right in there we got tiles. I had some like small pieces that I left in a baggie, but the big pieces will pretty much fit right there. Alright, so there's your tiles. Now the reason why I want to reorganize these is because this next part, it sits in here. However, yeah, I stacked these horribly wrong, because this is supposed to sit down much lower. So what I'll do, let me check his instructions real quick. Doors. Yeah, he's got everything laid out really nice. So, yeah. So I'm going to have to take some time to fit these in there. So again, I'm not going to do that on camera because that's going to be obviously very, very boring to watch. But let's just say that I took some time and I actually put these in here, utilized the space efficiently instead of just one big pile. Now let me just see real quick. I'm going to take some out. Alright, good. Now this is, I could probably put a couple more. Now that's important because see, this one here, which is going to be some of your miniature tray, is going to sit mostly flush right here. So once you have all your mat pieces in, I still have a few to put in there, but once that's all in there, now he shows that you've got, there's a spot for your dice. I'm going to grab some dice. The dice also has like a door holder. So where do you put my dice? Right. Oh, you know, 1, 2, 3. Oh, here. That's my dice. And then, again, won't hit every creature, but he showed these bar ghasts were here. And this is good too because, like, if you paint your miniatures, if you can have them standing or stacked or, you know, however you get them to fit in there nicely, that will help protect that paint job a little bit. So I can actually have them in there, and they're all pretty much just standing right next to each other. And he put the doors, make sure I get them in the right spot. Doors fit here. And then I'm going to add in with the doors the little door upright holders, so those are there. And then he's got, oh, this section here, his plans has this section split, but my wife and I said, hey, since it's just pretty much the heroes, we'll go ahead and put the heroes in here. Now this is tall enough that they can stand up. You don't have to lay your figures down. You can. I'm trying to see what he put in the middle. He had some guys here with these magic users. So you could either lay them down, or again, you know, if you've got them painted nicely, you might want to stand them up. Since these aren't painted, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to worry too much about all the creatures, but then see, here's spots for spiders. Put your creatures. I should have a red mage, red spider. So all my spiders fit in nicely, and then there's some undead. Yeah, so this is great. Actually, since you're watching me do this, I'll go ahead and just stick in the last couple creatures. So this is just a core set. This does not have any expansions. I'm sure that the expansions will get their own insert. This insert pretty much is just for the base game, as you can see. But check that out. I took that big mess of miniatures, and now everything has a place. So we got some wizards, barghast, spiders, the goblins, and we got undead. The big miniatures are here. That's everything. Map tiles. See, as I was putting this in, you can see that this is settled. So I actually have some more space to put more map tiles. So, like I said off camera, I'll fiddle with it, get all the map tiles put in here. And then we have the top. Now, this is an example of warpage. Because the base foam core was warped, it even though I'm sitting flat here, I might have to lay him down. So even though everything is going to be sitting flat, I just want to make sure it's all in here so it can sit flat. There we go. I got some warpage, but that's okay. We can work with that. Let's see. Had a couple channels here. Now what I did, I measured in, well, I put in the health here, I put in stamina here. I didn't get this one in very straight, but what I did for these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was I made 2 jigs. Now these are 30 millimeters wide. That's just the way it ended up for me with my measuring. Yours, as you measure things, are all going to be differently, because my measurements are a little bit different from the instructions because I wanted to access my cards a little bit differently. But I made this because once I had put in the spot for the health and the spot for stamina, I wanted these to be equal size. So by making the little jig, I was able to, you know, get everything to fit equal. So that's why I made the jig. So now I've got equal size channels in the remaining space to hold all the tokens. Cards go here. So the big character cards, let's see if I can just move it up a little bit. So my character cards go here. I mean, they fit. Now, the thing that disappointed me for this, though, is not sleeved. None of the cards are going to be sleeved to make this work. I thought about that before I downloaded the instructions. We didn't sleeve the game to begin with, so my wife said, well, it's not sleeved now, let's not worry about it. You know, don't worry about it. If it's not sleeved, it's not sleeved. So now I'm going from my plastic bag of health to a health token area. And there was no need to make like a separate channel for the 5s and the 1s. They all just fit in. Just grab what you need. And then, how much time we got left? I was going to try and fit this around 20 minutes because beyond that it's going to get boring watching me put stuff in. And there you go. So we'll leave it at that. Now the card, I just want to show you how tight the cards fit. So here we have, for example, the Dragon Lord cards. So there's a card channel for these regular size cards up here. So we got 2 spots for cards, plenty of room to grab them. Here in the middle, so I got more cards to put here. Then the smaller cards, let's just grab from here. I had out of all my cards, I had some out already, but I must have put them back. Just grab some of these. The smaller decks fit here like a glove. Boom. Again, no sleeves. But the thing that I changed, the plans have these little separators a little bit closer to the cards, so there's not so much play, but I wanted to be able to get my finger in there. So if I had, you know, when I got all my cards in, I purposely put a little bit more space. That way it's easier for me to get in and grab just the pile of cards I want. So that's really about the only thing I changed from the original design. Everything else is pretty much measured specifically to what he had on the paper I showed you earlier. And there you go. You know, like I said, won't show you everything, but once I get the rest of the tokens in, cards in, you would just simply... Now what he did to help hold stuff in place, when I say he, the Esoteric Order of Gamers example, oh look, this actually starts to flatten out as I put stuff in it. Nice. What he did was he kept the original insert for the game and laid that here to help hold everything down. So what I gotta do for me, because I didn't keep that insert, I'll have to put the manuals, and as you can see, the manuals sit good. Everything's gonna fit in here perfect. Now if I had to, I could just cut another piece of foam core, cut it again to the dimensions of the box, and plate that as a cover page, if you will, over the top of the foam core inserts. But as it stands, you can put the magazine, well, you put the rules, the box sits perfect. I'm not going to make another video where I show everything put in, but I just wanted to give you an idea that if you have an interest in this game and you want to organize it for quicker setup and for storage, so this is not going to store upright, it's going to store flat like this, but I would highly recommend that you go get the plans, build this, and as you can see, it's going to organize your things so much better. I mean, look, all the figures fit. It's amazing. And you know, hey, let me know what you think. What are your tips for building inserts, foam core, things like that? I know lots of people like to share their ideas. I've seen lots of great stuff. That's why I moved on from hot glue and moved on to tape. So if you have other ideas to share, go ahead. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we will talk to you later. Bye.